It's time for Living Your Purpose, a motivational and inspirational podcast with Peter and Joyce Nielsen.
Hey everybody, it's Peter Nielsen with my lovely wife Joyce for Living Your Purpose podcast. We hope that you're enjoying this day. We hope the skies above you are just cooperating, whether you're tuning in from the West Coast to East Coast. My friends up in Canada, we just thank you for being a part of our podcast. And if you're a first-time listener or watcher and you like what you're hearing or seeing, just press the subscribe button. We appreciate you. We do this each and every week to sow into you. You know, we're outside. The seasons are changing. We're into this fall season. There's less sunlight. The kids are back to school. We're racing into Thanksgiving and Halloween, Christmas and New Year's and Hanukkah. And all I can say is that the weather's changing, and this is when people have that perfect storm to make mistakes, to trip up.
Well, our routines are changing, and it's just time to formulate and set new goals on what you want to accomplish through these next few months and going into the new year.
It is. I mean, I could even see you wearing more clothes because my wife, my best friend, she loves about 80 to 85 degrees, and we enjoy walking, we enjoy biking, and we just love nature. So even for us, it's kind of like a mind screw to get into winter where we need to make sure that we're expending as much calories each and every day as we were in spring and in summer. And that's where a lot of people get into trouble, and that's why I love the topic of this show. And it was really motivated by a watcher, a listener, on some of the questions that they had on goal setting.
Yes, there was Melissa Solani. She wrote in and she's wanting to get in better shape and lose excess body fat, don't we all? But she's having a hard time placing her goals and principles on how to get there. Yeah. So what's the best approach to take, and what is a good way to set goals that you have for yourself so that they're successful and you actually implement them?
What a great question. And Melissa, thank you for being such a loyal watcher, follower. I think I've seen you on our Facebook and different accounts. I think that the first thing that comes to mind is to journal it, you know, and for many of us, we get to a point where I call it a slow fade. And the slow fade is that, you know, you're enjoying your life, it's nice outside, you're having maybe an extra cocktail, you're splurging with your food, you're with your family, you're going to Dairy Queen, and before you know it, you put on 5 extra pounds, and then the winter and the fall hits, and now you're basically burning less calories because you're doing less exercise outdoors. So what I would recommend is to definitely journal it and to get creative and to really think about small, short-term goals. Yes, you may want to lose 15 pounds. You may want to run in a 5K race, but you gotta, what do I always say? You know, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step at a time, 1 yard at a time, 1 mile at a time. And for you, Melissa, and for everyone that maybe is going around that same mountain, you know, 35 times, and you want to lose, you want to expend extra calories, is that what I would recommend is that if, say, Joyce and I, we got up to walking like 7 miles a day sometimes, but it didn't start that way. So if you are starting out, start out with 15 minutes. Document that. Be kind to yourself. You document that and you do that. You know, the average person that's walking at 4 miles an hour for 30 minutes is going to burn on average about 200 calories. So my point, between 150 to 200 calories, my point is that if you're starting with 15 minutes, you'd be surprised on how a month later you probably will be at the gold standard of the American Heart Association, which is 45 to 60 minutes at, say, 3.5 to 4 miles an hour. So I think that goal setting is so important, but you also need to take into consideration the season that we're in. As I just mentioned, is a recipe, a perfect storm for us to set ourselves up to fail, because it takes 3,500 calories to lose 1 fat pound. If you're eating more than you're expending, exercising, you're going to wear that weight. So if you know that fall and winter is coming, get creative. What are you going to do if you were walking 2 or 3 miles outside and it's 6 inches of snow? You know, you could snowshoe, or you could get on your stepper or your mini trampoline or your jump rope or your flight of stairs in your apartment or your condo that goes from the first floor to the second floor, and do stairs for 15 minutes and still burn those calories.
Absolutely. There's all kinds of ways you can get into exercise if exercise is your goal.
Right. You know, and then the other thing is that be mindful of what you're eating, because as I just mentioned, our macronutrients are your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fats. And if you were eating, I'm just using this as an example, 1,500 calories during the summer and the spring, and now all of a sudden the fall and the winter's coming, and you're still doing those 1,500 calories, but you're not exercising as much, guess what? It doesn't matter that you're just having those 1,500 calories. You're not expending, you're not burning, you're not emulsifying that fat. So you either need to lower your calories or get creative and burn the calories that you were outside during the summer and the spring. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. You know, so I think goal setting is so vitally important, but goal setting could be really for anything, am I correct?
Right. It's not just limited to exercise and losing weight. It can be in any area of your life. It could be maybe you want to learn a new skill, maybe you want to improve relationships, maybe you're looking to do something different in business. But I think that you follow the same outline, no matter
application,
what area that you're looking to apply those goals to. And the first, in my opinion, and the most important, is you need to be specific and clear about what you're looking to accomplish. And you need to write that down.
Yeah.
And then secondly, you need to make those goals measurable. For instance, if you want to save $5,000 in 6 months, you need to look at your finances over those 6 months. How are you going to do that? What are you going to cut out? Where are you going to make the extra? How are you going to put it in? And then on that journey there, you need to document and make sure you're making the progress that you need to get to be there. And it has to be achievable.
Right.
It has to be something that you
Reachable.
know realistically that you're going to be able to accomplish, and it needs to be relevant to your life and to your situation, and you have to put a time limit on those goals as well.
And then reevaluate.
Yes. And like you said, if it's a large goal, like say you want to get to walking X amount of time per week,
You got to chop it in pieces.
you can start smaller and definitely build it up. And all that sounds maybe a little complicating. That's why you need to write it down. Track it.
Yeah.
Write it, like you said, journal it. Write it down. Journal it. Stay flexible. Reevaluate the goals as you're going along, and celebrate the wins you're making along the way.
Celebrate the wins. Be easy and
Encourage
kind to yourself. We beat ourselves up, even I do. But if I could say this, on everything that Joyce Ann just said is that what has worked in my life is that I need to, number one, thank God before it's even brought to fruition. I then need to speak it almost every day. I need to have it in the front part of my brain, so if I want to accomplish, say, a business that Joyce and I are working on, I need to speak about it all the time. Because once I speak about it, my belief system is going to get stronger. When I believe it, then it becomes part of who I am. Out of sight, out of mind, I need to speak it. What do I always say? Life creates, words create life or death. If I say I can't do this, I'm scared of this, you could be scared of it. You could even use fear as a form of rocket fuel. But what has worked for me is that I need to act as though that it's right in front of my eyes, and all I have to do is get, out of bed and get my butt off of the couch, and I need to go after it. And if I'm in that mode, I've done that for winning the Mr. America, the Mr. USA, the Teenage America, the Mr. Universe, being an accomplished entrepreneur in business. That is my eye of the tiger. That is my ferocious rocket fuel. I love when people say I can't do something. I love it, because the more that people say that, the more that just translates into rocket fuel for me to go out and not talk bad about them, but prove them wrong by my actions that then equate to success. So whether it's the Melissas of the world or whether it's anywhere you're listening in the world, you got to speak it. You got to write it down. You got to have a vision of it.
The vision boards.
Right. Babe, if I couldn't see myself winning the Mr. America, Mr. Universe, when I got on the plane at JFK in New York City, there's no way I would have been able to get on stage with confidence, shoulders back, chest out. I saw myself raising that trophy. I saw myself winning. It gives me goosebumps, and it's been decades ago. But the point is that if it works for me, it's an application that will work for you. You gotta believe it, you gotta speak it, but most importantly, you gotta vividly see it in color.
Why do you think so many people fail at their goal setting?
Man, it's like, that's probably one of the most infamous questions that so many people, as well as Regis Philbin, or the Today Show, so many people have asked me, and I think the simple answer on that is that most people are afraid to start, and fear it paralyzes us in our tracks, because a lot of us are afraid not only to fail but to succeed, because you got to have what I just said, the vision. If you have the vision of winning, what are you going to do with that winning? When I won the Mr. Universe, the best thing that I ever did was go for the Mr. Universe the second time. And I'll tell you why. The first time I was the underdog. The second time everyone wanted to kick my ass, excuse my expression. I'm serious. I was on covers of magazines, on every single news show. But the second time, between the first time and the second time, you know what it did? It gave me the relationship between me and our Creator, God, to say, okay, I blew it the first time. It was a bunch of parties, it was a bunch of celebrations, it was money, it was endorsements. But really, what am I going to do with that? How am I going to use that to help others? How am I going to catapult and really become mega successful by using that to open up doors? Boy, oh boy, God bless my life with uncommon favor. I won the second Mr. Universe in Belize, Central America, and I had a vision of what I wanted to do. The first Mr. Universe competition, Regis Philbin, I was on, And it was a couple of weeks before, and he says, so how do you think you're going to do, kid? I says, I'm going to win. And when I walked out on Park Avenue, New York City, my agent said, do you know what you just did? I says, yeah, I'm prophesizing it. He says, you got them big. He says, because what are you going to do if you lose? I says, I don't even want to hear that. And my point is to anyone that's listening, to become a champion in life, you need to see it, speak it, feel it, write it down, day in and day out. Be consistent, be laser focused, because that's what's gonna take your goals to the next stratosphere. And when you accomplish your goals, honey, you need to have more goals.
Yes.
Because after I accomplished the second time Mr. Universe, I wanted to translate that into business, into relationships. And what I always say, and it sounds corny to some people, but I believe God, he took like this kind of like transformer, emotionally, spiritually, within me. And everything that I learned from being disciplined at the breakfast, lunch, and dinner table, being disciplined with things that all my friends were doing, dating and buying cars and drinking alcohol and getting high, I was so laser focused on becoming a champion. And I have to thank God above, because it has blessed my socks off in everything I do, every business I have, every relationship I have, whether it's as a dad or as a husband. I am all in. I see it successful. And whatever you put into something is what you're going to get out of it.
That all sounds amazing. Some of us are a little bit less disciplined. And I love your mindset. I love where you're going. And I love this man as my husband. He really gives so much encouragement to all of us. But what would you recommend to people that maybe aren't quite there yet, and they have their goals set, they have them written down, but they're just getting frustrated because they're not accomplishing them, they're not meeting them, and time is going by and they're finding themselves stuck, and they just don't know how to move forward, and they keep missing the mark?
It's another great question. I think for all of you, you can't do it alone. I'm going to get a little maybe emotional here, but God brought me angels that were brought into my life at times, that some of them I don't even talk to anymore, a lot of them are in heaven, that came to me and helped me, and then all of a sudden were gone. My point is to stay humble, stay level-headed. Don't be prideful. Don't be filled with ego. Don't be jealous. Don't compare yourself to others. I reached out to men that I admired, and I painted them the picture that God burnt in my heart. And they wanted to help me. And they helped me in such a magnificent way. So to answer your question, I was there. People see me successful. I failed 10x more than I succeeded.
That's the side a lot of people don't see. They only see the success, and they don't see all the work and the trials and tribulations and the redos that you take to get there.
And you know what? Whether it's social media with, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, or whether it's a TV show or this and that, that's all a lot of you see. I went to bed crying at times. I woke up crying at times. I've almost gone into bankruptcy at times. I wanted to give up at times. But I will say one thing. God has blessed me with the heart of a lion. And it's not how many times that you fall down, but it's you believing in yourself and the dream that God burnt into your heart to get up one more time. Just try it one more time, one more meeting, one more phone call, one more event. It's so worth it, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right. One more day. Say, okay, one day I wake up and, oh my God, I ate I ate the pizza. Not only did I eat the pizza, I had extra cheese. Or I skipped my walk because I was just feeling unmotivated and lazy. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna give up on it. It means the next day or even later that day, I'm gonna make up for it.
Right. And we both live that.
Gonna continue to try and do better every day, day by day. Sometimes your goals are day by day, minute by minute, and just because you fail at it at one increment doesn't mean you should throw your goals out the window. You need to stay steadfast and give yourself the grace and the opportunity to do it right, to take those steps the next time, the next day, and don't just throw it out the window and say, I can't do it, I failed, because you made a mistake one time.
I couldn't agree with you more, and what a great way to finish this episode. But what you just said, we live it. There's days we've done 7 miles, and then all of a sudden the kids are over, and we're having like and I have a lactose intolerance to dairy products. I'm the first to admit it.
Right.
And we're having like a cheese pizza, and the kids want to go to Dairy Queen, and we're like, oh my golly, we just literally went thousands, not hundreds of calories over. But the beautiful thing is, we're human. Tomorrow, we start and get right back into it. That's what I want to end with. Don't beat yourself up. We're all human. We're all imperfect. So if you do make a mistake, if you do have a hard time, if you do miss a workout, don't say, I'm a failure, this sucks, I'm not going to go to the gym, I'm not going to continue with this healthy eating regimen, I'm going to get off of Peter's 90-day challenge.
Right.
No, time out.
Don't let your guilt
Right.
eat away at you and just
Right, that's the enemy, man. The enemy wants to kick your butt. So our hope and why we do this is that our life is a vacuum. It's a vapor. It's such a short, quick ride. And we were talking about it the other day. It's like, I sold my health clubs and my physical therapy businesses. It seemed like yesterday. It was already like 10, 11 years ago. So my point is that enjoy every moment. Be forgiving to yourself. And don't wear it. Just basically even put a red pig out on today and then start tomorrow. And understand something, as you build momentum, and once you look back, you're not going to believe the distance that you have done. And again, to bring it full circle, put a bow on it, that's how goals are made. Short term, document it, speak it, live it, have a training partner that's going to be supportive of you even on your worst day. And that's what we both do. So love you very much. If you do have a question, you could go to peter@peternielsen.com. You could find us on social media at Peter and Nielsen. You can watch us on Peter's Principles on Astound TV network nationwide, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You could find us worldwide on DBTV, found on Roku, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday and Sunday. And we just pray for you. We hope that you have an amazing coming week. And I hope to God that you continue to move forward, get unstuck, and live the life that you're destined to live.
Yeah, and maybe your goals for this week are making goals.
Amen, amen, amen. Until next week, bye everybody. Hi, I'm Peter Nielsen. I'm excited because I'm going to be with you every Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on DBTV Network. We'll be dealing with nutrition because you are what you eat. Physical activities, whether it's indoors or outdoors, as well as wonderful things you could do with your entire family. Let's get better together, mind, body, and spirit.
Tune in to Peter's Principles every Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on DBTV Network.